Hello, Hak Sameach. How are you today? Getting
Chag
ready?
Sameach, Mike. Well, we're getting ready. It's making our lists and checking it twice. Just wanted to say something that people could relate to in
I
a
think
different.
you got the wrong holiday there, bud.
Yeah, but Pesach in Israel. First of all, there's Pesach in the Jewish community in America,
Yeah.
or anywhere in the world. Although I only experienced it in America, and there's pre-Pesach in Israel, which is totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the restaurants, maybe all of the restaurants in the Modi'in Mall, which you've been to.
Oh
We
yeah.
came on our Connect group. I think it was 2019.
Yeah.
Stopped here for a quick bite. They're all prepared for Pesach. They've all koshered everything for Passover, gotten rid of all their chametz,
Yeah.
their leaven products. Everything is all spanking new. The only problem is, of course, is that schools are off and everybody is around the food court
Ah.
because basically their moms want them out of the house so they could clean, or something like that. In America, Pesach products are usually available in the Jewish stores right after Purim. It was about 4 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and they sell out fairly quickly. Once you buy it, you buy it. If you snooze, you lose. Here, the Pesach products aren't put out until about 3 days ago,
Oh
so
wow.
it's a whole different thing.
Mm.
Um,
It's
and
kind of
of
crazy.
course,
All the confusion anyway. I have to tell you what happened to me yesterday. I was playing golf with a couple guys, and one of them is he calls himself Presbyterian because as a kid, in order to play baseball, the only team that would have him was at the Presbyterian church, and so he was required to become a member of the Presbyterian church to play baseball. So that's about as close to a scripture as he's ever gotten. But with that, I mean, I throw stuff out. And so he says to me the other day, he says, "So aren't you celebrating Christmas here this month?" And trying to explain to somebody Passover versus, it's just like, I don't know if I don't know if I have time for this, but I'm gonna next time I see him, I'm gonna take him to the side and say, "Hey, I appreciate your efforts there, and let me just kind of give you a cliff note here and see where it goes." So, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, no. The cheat sheet on that is to say, have you ever seen the movie The Ten Commandments? And more often than not, if they're above the age of 50, they'll say like, "Oh yeah, sure," and it'll be that's the story, and they're
Yeah,
like, "Oh."
it
Anyway,
came on the other night, and me and Kathy saw it, and actually we started to watch it, and I don't think I've ever gotten to the end because I don't really like the taste of Pepto-Bismol. Just
that's
saying.
that's a cute one. Yeah, I
Yeah.
never heard that one before. I like that. That's really great. Okay, so let me tell you quickly what's going on here in Israel besides
Go for
Pesach.
it.
Okay, so all these people, and last week, of course, I went on my rant about all these people who were losing their minds, whether they're friends of Israel or not, about the demonstrations. Well,
Yeah.
there aren't any demonstrations anymore.
Huh,
Yeah, there was a big one Saturday night, but that's become like a standard thing.
okay.
Like instead of date night here in Israel, we go out and demonstrate Saturday nights. It's really
You
ridiculous.
know?
Um, there's all the political intrigue. Our minister of defense was kind of like, I guess he was placed on double secret probation because although Netanyahu had said publicly that he's fired, he never sent the formal official note saying y'all are fired.
Okay.
So it's absurd. Meanwhile, of course, it's Ramadan. Quote
Mm,
unquote tensions are raised. It's just it's same old, same old. Um, the Iranians sent a drone into Israel from Syria. We shot it down.
yeah.
What's intriguing is um, we shot it down by some kind of electronic means.
Hmm.
Since drones operate on signals,
Yeah.
if you intercept the signal, the drone will fall
Yeah.
from the sky, and then it's not blown to smithereens like Chinese balloons over. Oh, and I got to tell you something. I have some insight into that that was
Oh.
given to me 2 weeks ago. Anyway, make a long story short. So it's really kind of same old here in Israel. Israel continues to arrest terror suspects
Hmm.
for attacks in Hawara,
Yeah.
etc. Tourism, Christian tourism is off the charts.
Yeah.
I did not realize that this past Sunday was Palm Sunday, and this starts Holy Week.
Yeah.
So, back in America, they used to say, so, okay, so this week is, so you've got Ash Wednesday, something Thursday, I don't
Hmm.
remember what that was, Holy Friday, and Good Shabbos. That was the standard joke in the Jewish community for
Okay.
Shabbat Shalom. They would say Good Shabbos. Anyway, so yeah, it kind of is what it is. Jewish tourism right now is at a temporary peak because of
Yeah.
Passover.
Yeah.
Of course, I just got a message last night asking if I had any availability over the next 10 days or so.
Mm.
And it's like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing, like when someone will say, like, hey, I'm in Israel, we want to book you as a guide. When are you thinking, kids? I mean, and I'm still in the process of rebuilding my business
Hmm.
after COVID, but you know, peak seasons guides do book. Anyway, neither here nor there. Um, I got an interesting note after our update last week.
Okay.
So, Hanoch, I heard what you were saying about the messianic movement, and if you're serious about the Torah, you've got to be serious about Israel, which is really a great talking point. I took like 5 minutes to say that. This person said it in one line.
Yeah.
Said Mike mentioned Jewish immigration from America. Is that an issue? Do people talk about it? I guess they mean American Jews.
Hmm.
And I thought this would be a really great opportunity to mention we have a category in halacha called tinok nishbeu. This is a child or young child who is captured by heathen, taken to their village or country, and raised by them, raised
Yeah.
as a heathen. This is, of course, from ancient times.
Right.
They cannot be expected to grow up observing halacha, Jewish law, because they're totally ignorant of it, have
Hmm.
absolutely no Jewish identity whatsoever. That is pretty much, again, I'm not a rabbi and I don't even play one on TV, but I just love saying that. The reality of Jews born in America is that they fall into this category. They haven't had any Jewish education,
Hmm.
Jewish commitment. So, it's interesting that the Messianic community is already light years behind, excuse me, light years ahead of most American Jews because they're at least studying and trying to deal with the Torah and its relevance.
Wow.
Now, it likely takes people like you, Michael Clayton, to tell them, yeah, sorry, man, that deer in the headlights look really good, Mike. Hadn't seen it since a bus in Israel in months from now. Okay, to explain to them that the Torah and Israel are inseparable.
Hmm.
American Jews, we can't have that conversation with most American Jews because they are 3 to 4 generations removed from any kind of Torah study, Torah knowledge. I mean, when I was a kid, which was a long time ago, But when I was a kid, most Jewish kids went to Hebrew school,
Yeah.
boys and girls, and that was the equivalent of Christian vacation Bible school. You know, you're
Mhm.
told some stories, you learn some songs. It's not
Mm.
much of anything.
How to build
But
an ark with popsicle sticks.
yeah, that doesn't even happen anymore.
Uh,
So, again, it's the classic is you is or is you ain't my constituency. So it's really great. You already have a full plate of activities and conferences to speak at and people to mentor. And I just threw another whole thing that the Messianic community needs to turn to people like you, Mike, and say, can you help straighten us out on this walk here?
well, it's interesting. We had some folks that have started coming to our congregation a couple of weeks now. I met them just this past Shabbat. And one of their statements in my opening, just greeting them, one of the statements was the congregations they've been to, and they've tried to go to, even synagogues, because where they live, there's really no Hebrew roots congregations around. The ones that
Yeah.
they have found, they said there's no talk of Israel. I just, I mean, how far out of the box that is for me that I can't understand it. I just don't have a place for that.
Having lived in that world for as many years as I did, okay, not all of them were as an observant Jew.
Yeah,
I still struggle with it. And I
yeah,
still, you know, it still gets me that within the modern Orthodox Jewish community, there is talk of Aliyah.
mhm,
These are the kids that go and they spend a gap year or two studying in Israel, um, as my daughters did.
yeah,
But the idea in the I don't know whether to give a percentage of 95%, but we could say probably 95% or
mhm,
more. The expectation is then afterwards, they'll come home,
mhm,
they'll move to some modern Orthodox Jewish community
mhm,
somewhere in the US.
mhm,
It could be in, Atlanta, could be in New Jersey, could be in Houston, wherever. And they'll raise their kids who will also be Zionist slash pro Israel
yeah,
and send their kids also to Zionist camps. But in many cases, these families are then shocked when the kids want to go on Aliyah, the kids want to live in Israel. It's kind of
mhm,
like we sent you there to study, but the idea was that you're going to come home and be a doctor, lawyer, Indian chief.
yeah. Well,
Duh.
this festival does commemorate the the one time of the year that more people will say a statement that they have absolutely no desire to live out. And that is the final statement of Passover, of the Seder,
Yeah.
next year in Jerusalem. Having absolutely no desire at all to fulfill that.
And remember how many generations, how many hundreds of years did Jews in under Muslim oppression in Arab countries and Jews in Eastern Europe under Christian oppression would say that so fervently, praying for the chance that
Mhm.
they or their children or their children's children would do it. I mean, every once in a while, when someone will ask me, what made you come to Israel? My standard refrain, my elevator pitch, which I think you've heard many times, is that I wanted to be part of the destiny of the Jewish people
Mhm.
instead of just reading about it in a book.
Yeah, yeah,
I find Jewish people find that offensive
yeah.
because they take it as a put down that they don't care about Jewish destiny. Now, I don't say that, but of course I'm saying it. Of
Well,
course I'm
people of conviction or people of compromise are bothered by people of conviction. So,
very much so. I
yeah.
found that I guided, I think it was 38 people to Masada, Ein Gedi, and the Dead Sea.
Mm,
Um, when was it? Thursday. So first of all, it's fascinating. I met someone on a tour the day or two before when I did the all day Jerusalem tour, that he and his son, he's retired, but his son is active duty in the Canadian Armed Forces. I
Hmm.
had never met Canadian military before. And we were talking about the balloons and everything, over Canada, North America, whatever. That's a whole anecdote for the side. But people, were talking about where are the good places to go drinking. And I said, I have heard that, like in Jerusalem, Hatch Brewery, which is a Jerusalem-based brewery, or Beer Bazaar, both of them in the Shuk in Machane Yehuda, are excellent. And of course, people picked up on the, what do you mean you here? Where do you go drinking? So I don't. Okay, so when did you quit? And then when you say, well, I've never been drunk and I've never gotten high, then you get all the like, oh, you were such a nerd in college. I bet you were a good boy. And like, well, by the time I was 20 years old, I had already been arrested on 3 different continents.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's like people's heads are about to explode. And then I go and explain that, the 70s, when I was a teenager,
Hmm.
a very different time. You could do a peaceful protest to sit in and make page 3 of the New York Times, but still people are bothered with it because they were spending their time, you
Hmm.
know,
Well,
let's just playing around.
we do have to face it, Hanok. I was kind of messing around on some word definitions the other day. I typed in oxymoron, and your name came up. So,
Mm,
not
That's
really.
very that's very cute. No, but it's very cute.
Yeah.
So it's a sense that Pesach is such an amazing festival.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
First of all, my mother, Alea Shalom, blessed memory, used to say, for all the work that you put into the preparation and all the expense of all the new food products, she said, the holiday should last a month to make it worthwhile. I have to disagree with Mrs. Young because I don't want Pesach to last a month. A week, that's the limit.
Yeah.
But this is the holiday that leads into the nation of Israel becoming truly the nation of Israel.
Oh yeah.
It is a holiday where we remember what happened to us in Egypt so we can look forward to our national redemption.
Yeah.
And of course, always have to throw in something that Rav Kahana taught, many years ago. And I'm sure I shared this on one of our programs previously, but since I can't remember last year, I'm sure our listeners can't either. So it's okay. He said, the scene, Moshe comes out and he sees the Egyptian beating an Israelite.
Hmm.
As he looked to the left, he looked to the right, and then he went and killed the Egyptian. There are different interpretations of what that means. Rav Kahana's understanding, as he taught us, was he looked to see if anyone else
Hmm.
was interceding and was going to do something.
Yeah.
And then he stepped in.
Yeah.
That was the essence of our activism
Hmm.
when we were young. We were waiting for all the big shot Jewish organizations to do something to help free Soviet Jewry. We
Yeah.
were looking for them to get the Jews of Syria out. We were looking at them to stand up for Israel. They didn't. And we went, and it was an era, the 70s, where people believed they could change the world. And on a small level, we did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, for all the people that are demonstrating against this proposed judicial overhaul on Israel, which again is necessary, although Netanyahu, who is smooth like Teflon, nothing's, I mean, this is really sticking to him
Hmm.
because he played it all wrong. It is amazing to see both sides protesting while holding the Israeli flag.
Hmm.
And that was the thing that these Canadians mentioned to me the other day. And then I met a husband and wife from Australia who said no one would parade around Australia, whatever the cause, with the national flag. He said,
Wow.
if we instituted compulsory military service like y'all have here in Israel, okay, he didn't say y'all, um, and he said no one would go. And I said, this has been the essence since we started
Mm,
as a renewed state 75 years ago.
yeah.
I mean, in another, I guess, 5 weeks or so, 6 weeks, we'll be celebrating our 75th anniversary, which
Amazing.
is miraculous.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely. Absolutely.
it's the it's just wild. And for all the anxiety that I feel of trying to figure out how to better reach people about Israel. What kind of message can I give that'll,
Mm,
get people, moving? I mean, we've got friends of ours in Kentucky that are having big sales and yard
oh,
sales and doing all kinds of stuff to raise
yeah.
funds. So these three amazing women, you know, Darlena, Jessica, and Crystal can come on Connect. I'm just trying to figure out, like, so what about the other 77 on average who attend in their congregation?
And I have to insert here that determination was actually the seed of that determination was Sarah Connor, who started baking challah bread in Franklin. And
Right.
Jessica and the ladies got a hold of that and said, "Hey, if if you can bake challah bread in Franklin, we can do that up here in Kentucky." So
No, for
it's a
sure.
matter of, we talked about this so many times. It's a matter of no matter what it's Israel or whatever. The Almighty is looking for us to do something. I think he's,
Absolutely.
it's like, okay, you do something and then I'll get involved. But until you do something, I'm gonna sit back and watch you, you
You
know?
know, it, it's that way. Our mutual friends who have sacrificed so much to restore vineyards to
Mhm.
Shomron, both the Israelis and both the amazing volunteers.
Whoop, cut out
I
there.
mean,
Good.
Tommy Waller and family could have picked dozens of causes
Oh,
in Israel or anywhere else in the world and gone ahead and led their lives.
yeah,
And instead, they've come here to Israel. And this is I remember you telling me in the midst of COVID, you'll see, the moment I get a chance to come back to Israel, I'm going to be back.
yep,
It's the classic. We're struggling with trying to understand what it is that other people don't understand.
and that sprained ankle still gives me problems, but
I was going to mention something about being careful with walking across the
yeah,
light rail, but
yeah,
I was
I
just
know. Yeah, I got a little bit something in common with Jacob there. I still once in a while have a little bit of a limp, so it's
a little,
okay.
yeah,
Hey, you mentioned you had something about the balloon?
yeah. It was from the Canadian Armed Forces perspective, they didn't think of it as a big deal.
Uh-huh.
I mean, with all the electronic surveillance and stuff, was it of Chinese origin? They seem to think so, but they really poo-pooed its value.
Mhm.
So,
Well,
it's kind of,
news report last night that said that there was actually more intelligence gained in that than was originally admitted to. Surprise, surprise. Wow. It's amazing that that could have happened.
it, the Chinese government has been successfully involved in industrial espionage for years.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I hope you cut out a
it
little
just
bit, but I
doesn't
think
surprise me.
you cut out a little bit, but I
Not
think
at all.
everybody can figure out what you just said there. So, all right. Well,
Okay.
Passover oh, by the way, is there anything happening? I know in previous years there's been some work of is it the Temple Institute or what in the with a lamb and trial kind of I guess I could call it trial runs. Is there anything going on this year with that?
If it happens, I mean, it's already been discouraged
Yeah,
by Itamar Ben Gvir,
yeah.
who
Oh well. Internet is not going to help
call
us
it.
today. So hold on, try that one more time.
Okay, that's okay. Let me just put it very simply. It's not real. It's Memorex.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's all a publicity stunt.
Yeah. Okay.
We're not ready for that.
Yeah. I mean, I know that, but I see things that happen on Facebook and it kind of blows up a little bit. And so, yeah, people need to, we need to once again be discerning about what's on Facebook. And I do challenge people this year that at any time about halfway or so through our time of eating matzah, that you post on there that I can't wait for this to be over so that I can go out and get a cheeseburger or something, and I'm just dying because I don't have a donut. I'm waiting for that post this year because I've decided I'm not going to be nice about my response.
You know,
We- If we
again,
can't have joy in the festivals, what's the purpose?
amen.
So I'm looking forward to some matzah pizzas. Do you guys do matzah pizza in Israel?
Um, it's I know people who've done it.
Okay.
I used to do it many, many, many years ago.
Mhm.
Now I eat very little matzah. The obligation is to eat it at the Seder, and I pretty much don't eat it or eat very much of it
Mm.
afterwards.
Oh well.
Uh, so
The good news, that saves more for my matzo pizzas. So,
okay,
yeah,
fair enough.
yeah, I
All right,
got you. I got you. Hey, Hak Sameach, and
Chag
look
Sameach.
forward to talking to you next week.
Take care, man. Bye bye.